So this week is Migraine Awareness Week, and I thought that we'd put a bit of a different spin on migraines other than the things that we usually talk about, which is mostly the physical aspects attributed to migraines. You see, I know that those physical aspects are true and that I get, really good results in working on some of them, but I also think that there's a lot more to migraines than just that. So we're going to explore something a little bit different. Pain is multifactorial. That's really accepted now by the medical community and all aspects of healthcare, that it's not just about what's going on in the tissues and the structures of the body. And this means that it's not all about anatomy. So I talk about certain muscles and sort of connective tissue being hugely responsible for migraines, but there are other factors as well, and it's important that we really look at that as a whole. And one of the key kind of writers on pain is Louise with her book, You Can Heal Your Life. And you may or may not have heard of this before. It's a really controversial book actually, and people have really kind of divided opinions on it. And the idea is that we create the life that we imagine, what we think actually becomes our reality. And, when we sort of think of that perspective and we think about being in pain, it becomes quite difficult to really kind of manage that. And some people look at it as being hugely victim blaming and not helpful at all. But other people can see some truth in that, and it has been really helpful for people to switch up their perspective. The key thing that she writes about migraine sufferers is that they tend to be people who really strive to be perfect, that puts a lot of pressure on themselves and suppress a lot of anger. So I think that's really just something worth considering if you are a migraine sufferer, which I am sort of occasionally, and I have been quite a lot more in the past, is just really considering those words. So migraine headaches are created by people who want to be perfect, who create a lot of pressure on themselves, and there's a lot of suppressed anger involved. So, maybe just sit with that for a few minutes and just see if that really rings true to you and if there is any truth in that, which can be quite difficult. I mean, the idea of me sitting there thinking about that, which I have done, after a couple of minutes, my brain's kind of like, I don't really want to think about that anymore. So, which actually is kind of an indicator that it's probably something that I would need to explore a bit more. But I think that's really interesting. And the other thing that Louise really is big on is affirmations. So using affirmations as much as you can through your day. Now, I found this to be really helpful in just switching up sort of negative thought patterns. And, if you feel overwhelmed or anxious, just really sort of intercepting that thought pattern with an affirmation by just repeating it in your mind or out loud, if you can, if you're in a position where you can say it out loud. One of the ones that she suggests, is actually a whole list of them in her book. One of the ones is, every cell in my body is loved. And I really like that one. It just really kind of like rings a bell to me, or like sits well with me. So I think you have to find one that sits well with you and that your actual brain can know that it's true. So, you could say something like, I'm not in pain, or I don't have a migraine, but somewhere inside you, you know that isn't true. But this one that she suggests, which is, every cell in my body is loved, I just find that really sort of appropriate for a lot of circumstances, and I thought it might be something that you might like to take into your day with you this day or even this week. So let me know your thoughts on this. I'd really like to hear what you think about it. I know that it's quite a controversial topic, so it'd be good to know what you think and how you feel about that, and if any of this really rings true to you. So yeah, just let me know.